What's going on YouTube? This is yours truly, Dre the Plug, coming at you live with some more technical heat. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button below. Make sure y'all hit that bell button below so y'all can stay notified every single time I drop new technical heat. But let's get back into these interviews. Roll the clip.
Hi everybody, my name is Amanda, the Silicondancer. That is my stage name on Instagram and TikTok. My major in college was, I got 2 degrees in electrical engineering and 1 in computer science. I graduated from the University of Washington. Go Huskies. I am a Seattleite, so I'm from Seattle. That's my hometown where my family and friends are all from. And I am currently a software engineer at Microsoft. I work in a division with the Internet of Things. We work on a lot of different solutions in agriculture, healthcare, and retail. And primarily I work on a data processing pipeline. So I'm really involved in a lot of distributed systems applications, which is really fun and cool.
Okay, Miss Silicondancer, why did you specifically choose this field?
To be honest, when I got myself into engineering, I didn't even know that I was in engineering at first. I actually went to an advisor at college and I was really passionate about making fake muscles, like pneumatic muscles and robotics. And I said, this is something I'm really passionate about and I want to work on. And she was like, well, that's not a degree that you can pursue. And I was like, what is a degree I can pursue? And she said, there's this thing called engineering. And that is the tool you're going to use to get you to do all these amazing robotic applications. So that's how I ultimately came into engineering. It was really all the amazing applications like robotics and distributed systems and all of these amazing software tools you can use to reach and impact so many people in their lives.
Okay, so what do you feel is the biggest benefit when it comes down to being into this field?
I think the biggest benefit in being in engineering is how many people you can touch at the same time with the software or the hardware that you build. It's incredible. I just remember I was at an internship at Exobionics in my senior year of college, and I was working on an exoskeleton to help paraplegics walk. And I remember just writing my code and being on my Beagle Bone and seeing on the side a physical therapist working with someone who was paralyzed from the waist down and seeing them walk for the first time with the technology we were building. And it was absolutely incredible to see this person walk for the first time ever.
Okay, so what did you not expect jumping into this field?
So believe it or not, I actually did not know when I went into engineering how much it paid actually. I actually went into it because I genuinely was passionate about the field, but it blew my mind when I got my first full-time job. It was just incredible how supportive these tech companies are when you work there. Some of them provide you with free food, which blew my mind for my first job. I was fed lunch and dinner every day. They have amazing health benefits and really care about your health as a human being. I really think tech companies are one of the only companies like in the world where they really care about you as a human being and the things you're excited about. And a lot of the times they even like reimburse you for dance classes you want to do or snowboarding or whatever like sport or activity you're passionate about. They want to support that alongside you and building technology and writing code, which is awesome.
Okay, so how did the Silicondancer character come to life? I see on your Instagram you have all type of different dancing things related to tech things. Like, how did you end up combining the two or even really getting into dancing, especially being somebody who's an engineer?
So a lot of people don't know this, but I actually started my dance career very, very early. I started when I was 3. I was a ballet dancer. So I performed and like trained my whole life since 3. I have worked with ballet companies like Boston Ballet, Houston Ballet, San Francisco Ballet, and Pacific Northwest Ballet, which is in Seattle. And I really pursued that career path for a very long time. I think I realized that I didn't completely fit in with that world and I didn't fit the right body type or the right height. It was difficult. I didn't get cast for roles. So I ultimately decided I wanted to do something different. And that's ultimately where the engineering came from. Was I was like, I want to do something different. I want to do something for my brains for me as a person. I can impact someone no matter what I look like. And that was like a completely amazing idea to me. So I actually didn't dance for a very long time. I didn't dance for like 4 or 5 years, and I focused on the engineering, getting really good at being a good software engineer. And that was my focus. And now that I've worked for about 3 years in software engineering, I feel more confident in my abilities. And over quarantine, as you know, like we were stuck inside. We couldn't do the things we wanted to do. I wasn't traveling anymore. That was my big passion. So I was like, what am I going to do to fill my time? And in Seattle, as a lot of you may know, it is very rainy. You can't go outside, and we had to stay inside and not see people. So what I ended up doing was I ended up expressing myself through dance. All the emotions, happy, sad, excited, frustrated, in dance. I would film myself on my carpet. And I initially posted it to my private Instagram. And what I realized was I only had like 100 followers, like just my friends and family. And I would be getting like 400, 500 views on these things. And I'm like, how is that possible? Like people must be like rewatching the stuff and must be liking it. And one of my friends was like, you should make a public Instagram and you should do this. So in December, like around Christmas time, I ended up launching a public Instagram where I branded myself as the silicondancer. Silicon being from part of the word Silicon Valley. As you know, a lot of electronics are made from silicon. So it's that ode to technology and microcontroller boards and software, and then the dancer part, which is obvious. And on the channel, kind of my goal here is to make this community of women who they do tech. They might be civil engineers, they might be industrial engineers, they might be software engineers or electrical engineers, but they also love dancing. And it's been so amazing to build this community of people, not just women, but men as well, that, you know, love dance and love engineering. And it's amazing to also see in the comments people who are strictly dancers and strictly engineers, and they talk to each other on those comments. It's amazing to see those connections being built. So that is kind of the whole goal with silicondancer, is this community of tech-driven, artistic-driven people coming together.
Okay, so what are some future goals that silicondancer have cooked up?
So I think I have 2 primary goals for silicondancer. The first one is, first and foremost, I want to build a strong, passionate community of tech and artistic-minded people. And that is so important to me. I think my dream one day is that we can all have like a meet and greet and meet somewhere, or I can meet people in different cities and get to connect with all of these amazing people and learn the stories of all these amazing people that do both. It would make me feel not alone, and I know for so many people it would make people feel like they belong to a community. So that's my first goal. My second goal is, I'm very much an artist at heart. I love making masterpieces of art, and my goal is to make really high quality, you know, videos that have my own original choreography, my own original costuming, and really ultimately combine tech and dance together, and have it be something truly beautiful. I think one thing that has been my dream for like the longest time is I really want to explain security concepts better, because to be honest, in the tech world, a lot of people tend to shy away from security because like the authentication and security protocols are really complicated to understand. And I think there's something beautiful there where I could film a dance that could explain a lot of things, like how certificates work or how symmetrical keys work when you authenticate on a computer. I just think there's something beautiful there that can be made. So that's my ultimate goal.
Okay, so what are some hurdles that you faced, you know, being inside of the dance industry while also, you know, having tech? Like, how did you end up combining the two and making it work? Were there any hurdles throughout your whole journey from start to finish?
So in the traditional dance world in ballet, I think one of the things I definitely struggled with was being, you know, a certain body type. And, you know, being tall was like a very big thing. Being a certain race, looking a certain part. In ballet, basically when you enter the field, you're first kind of introduced to what's called the corps de ballet, which is like a group of dancers that will dance together. And the difficulty with that is that you have to look like everybody else that's dancing with you. So there's no sense of individuality, and that was really hard for me because I liked being my own individual person, but you had to fit in with a group, which was really hard. And you know, traditionally you're in a theater and there's only a certain amount of people that are there and a certain audience that is watching you. And it's really hard to get recognized unless you're like flying out to go do auditions in other cities and things like that. And I think tech has definitely changed the game on who can be dancing and be noticed and recognized. And it's amazing. I can shoot videos where I can make myself look taller or bigger in the frame. You can't do that when you're a dancer because you're just doing it live on stage. They see you as you are. And that is so incredible that like, especially like Instagram has given this opportunity to many people who wouldn't have the money or resources to train to be a professional dancer. They can just get videos out there, and professional celebrities and amazing dance choreographers can just see their content and be able to share and post it and reach out to them and be like, hey, I want to train you. That's basically what happened to me. One of my dance idols, Jojo Gomez, she reached out to me and told me she wanted to train me, and it was incredible. In a million years, I would have never connected with her if it wasn't for Instagram. And she literally connected with me when I had like 600 followers. Like, it really doesn't matter how many followers you have. These people will find you if you're good and you are passionate about your craft, which is unbelievable.
Okay, so you mentioned that you work for Microsoft, and then you also mentioned that you had worked for Tesla. Can you elaborate a little bit more, you know, on your work experience? And on top of that, tell us, how was the interview process? How was it, you know, actually getting in and your day by day working for these companies?
Yeah, absolutely. I can talk about my experiences. So I did my first internship, which I was very lucky at Tesla. The way that I ended up getting this job was, it was funny. I was actually jealous of my friend who had gotten an internship for the fall, which I highly suggest getting internships for the fall because they're less competitive than summer if you can take off a quarter. And so I immediately applied after him and ended up getting called back the next day from a recruiter. And I remember the interview basically going, how much experience do you have? I feel like that's always like a question they ask. And I was like, well, I've been only working in this lab at school. And that to them, they seemed like was enough experience for them. So I always recommend that to students, like go work in a lab. It will give you that initial experience. And I was working on, you know, robotic fingers and grasping, and they were really excited about that. And the recruiter was like, look, you have very little experience. We're going to put you in kind of like a brute force job where you're going to be like measuring a lot of voltages of batteries for like the cars. And I was like, you know what? I'll do anything to just like get my foot in the door and go work. And I did. And a lot of the things you do as an intern, they're mundane in your first internship. I had to basically like measure batteries, you know, one at a time and record them in a little monitor. It was not the most glamorous job, but you know, I was hungry. As an intern, you should be like that, always looking for new work. And ultimately, I ended up working on a really cool research paper for something with Elon on batteries, which was really, really cool. So you do get some opportunities that pop up in internships, which is awesome. And then in the same internship, I wanted to set myself up for next summer, so always preparing. So I ended up going to go talk to a team called the Body Controls team. And they were going to work on the future Model X that was coming out that summer, and the Falcon Wing doors and, you know, all the cool features of the car. And I was like, look, I have no coding experience, but I want to work on this team. And I knew that they were working in Python and C++, and that's where I wanted to be. And so it's always good when you're in an internship, go reach out to other teams and like look at what, you know, they have. And I got my foot in the door essentially for next summer, and I spent the next summer working on the Model X release, which was incredible. So that's a little bit about my internships. As for my current job, I currently work on data pipelines for Internet of Things solutions. So this could be in agriculture, healthcare, retail. Our goal is basically to take large amounts of data that could be from any application. It could be like, for example, coffee makers, right? Like the temperature of the coffee, when people are making coffee, what types of coffee are people brewing, and taking all of this data in and creating analytics for all of these, big time coffee companies. And the reason I got here was because I, had interned at Tesla. I actually also worked for 2 years at a startup with autonomous driving. And I realized like a huge problem is that, we have all this sensor data and all of these things that the car has to keep track of, and we have to process this data very efficiently. And I wanted to learn more about distributed systems and processing things at scale, and how to deal with what happens if like a server fails or something gets throttled. Like, what do you do? How do you handle those situations in software? So I ended up switching to a more software engineering role and less of a niche autonomous driving engineering role, so I could learn more about it. So I'm really excited. I'm still on my journey of learning more about distributed systems, and I don't know everything yet, but I'm definitely learning so much.
So for somebody that's out there that's watching, that's probably looking for some, software engineering tips when it comes down to going to, especially working for like a big company like Microsoft, what's some tips that you would give them?
Usually it's a phone interview. That's where it starts. It's generally a 45-minute coding interview. So it'll be one of your standard medium hard lead code questions. And once you pass that interview, the recruiter will get in contact with you for an on-site interview. And usually that's a loop that's around 4 to 5 hours long, usually 4 interviews, and it's the entire day. You usually meet with the recruiter, they introduce you to the team, and then you launch into your interviews. If you are more of a novice programmer or new grad, you'll probably get more of those like lead code questions, because they have nothing really else to base your experience on because you haven't worked. And as you get more senior in your career, they'll start adding what are called system design questions, where they ask you about an entire system. So it'd be questions like, how do you design Netflix? How do you design Facebook? And you would work through that on a whiteboard. And again, I'll iterate for those two, like you have to ask lots of questions because they're putting you with a really ambiguous question. And they want to see how you can work with the interviewer to figure out, the best design possible.
Okay, silicondancer, what's something that you would like a viewer to take away from you that you haven't mentioned or, touched on throughout this whole interview? What's something you would like for them to take away about yourself? And also give them your YouTube, your Instagram, your TikTok. Give them all that good contact information if they want to reach out to you and stay in touch.
I think the biggest takeaway I want people to get from this is that really just be yourself. I think I spent many years like wondering, am I a dancer? Am I an engineer? Like, who am I as a person? And I think it wasn't until I realized I was both and I could merge both, that was when I found true power. And so just know when you're out there trying to look for that thing, that passion that you're looking for in your life, like you're not going to figure it out right away. And just know that it might be 2 or 3 things you do or 5 or 6 things that you do, but it's the combination of those things that make you truly powerful and amazing. So definitely, I would love it if you guys could check me out. I'm most active on Instagram. You can check out my handle down there. I also just started on TikTok, so check me out on there too. I do different videos than I do on my Instagram. And then I have a new baby YouTube that I'm starting. If you have any tips for me, let me know. I'll be asking Andre for sure on more tips on that. And I have a website, silicondancer.com, so you can read more about my story there.
And that concludes this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It really do help my channel when it comes down to the YouTube algorithm. If you guys have any questions regarding anything, just hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on the gram at DreThePlug123. And then also go check out my other YouTube channel. This is actually my second channel. My first one was called Andre Classic Cuts. I basically go in and give tutorials about all types of different haircuts. I actually show people how to do different type of things with the clippers that has never been done, and I pretty much go into detail as to why certain things happen. So definitely go check out that channel. Besides that, be on the lookout for my next content that's dropping. Be on the lookout for it because it's coming real soon. And I'm out.